Finding your voice as a writer is really hard, but finding your niche is even harder as a writer. So how can you really use that niche and value to really differentiate who you are from every other writer and find places and gaps in the writing space that's missing so that you can really revive the online writing space? What's up, writers, and welcome back to my channel where I teach you to find your place in the writing space. I finally got to say that quote and it feels so freaking good. Way better than the old one. The old one was so extra and weird. But sorry, my voice is kind of raspy today because I haven't been talking for 3 days because I just don't talk. So yeah, let's get into it. So finding your voice is actually a lot easier than finding your niche, but it kind of isn't. So finding your voice is actually not something you really look up, even though you're looking it up right now. You don't really look up how to find your voice as a writer. You just have to keep writing, taking requests from your people who are reading your stuff and just taking requests, just writing about multiple your passion, testing out your different writing passions and just seeing what clicks. Maybe you have a voice that's really relatable and it's just people feel like they're talking in front of you. They feel like they're talking right in front of you. It's just up front. It's not like high vocabulary and just bold. It's like you're talking to someone. Or your voice is really poetic and very vulnerable and emotional and it just digs into someone's heart. Or your voice is really kind of melancholic, but it's really stoic and it really hits hard on those certain things and really witty. You just have to keep writing and then you'll eventually find your writing voice. And this is the continuation of finding kind of your journey as a writer series, chapter 2. See what I did there? It's like a book, but yeah, this is a continuation of our series. And I did have a video on how to find your niche, but I redid it because I kind of didn't like it, let's be honest with you. But take two. So before you even think about your niche, think about what do I want to write about? What am I passionate about? What do I love to do? Write out your writing interests. Don't even think about passion right now because passion dies. Passion is something that it's like a spark. It's a spark that lights up and then it burns out. Interest is something that stays. It's perpetual. It stays with you. So find multiple interests. Don't even think about one thing yet. Just write out your interests and think about what is something that you love to write about. And yes, it's really overwhelming. I write out my passions. What's next? So after you write out not your passion but your interests, think about one thing that you could write about. Out of all of those, just pick out one that sticks out to you. And if it's really hard for you, there's actually 3 ways that you can actually nail this down. The first one is the ikigai philosophy. The ikigai philosophy is you basically are 4 things and you write out each of your interests in these 4 categories. What is something you love to do, something the world needs, something you can get paid for, and something that you're good at. So of course, write out each of those that appeal to what you can do for writing, and then see connections and see where they connect. And once they connect, find your passion. You found your passion. But that might not work always because there'll be multiple connections. So the next one is find what is something you're good at? What is something that you're good at? You could teach it to someone over and over and over, and you just never get bored of it because you're just so amazing at it. And then the last one is just give each of those interests at least 1 month of practice. Write about each of those interests, write about it in your blog, feature people on that interest. What are certain people that are into that type of thing, and you can feature people on it. You could do talks. You can go on Twitch, you can go on YouTube and be streaming, vocalizing your writing, and just give each one 1 month, and you'll just find that one thing that just clicks. It just clicks and you get really excited about it and you just want to write over it and over and over about it. But be careful with this because I have fell in the trap where I found my passion. I found my content wasn't really health and well-being. Writing was my song and I want to make content, but I went full steam ahead. I did everything. I made these videos, I made these podcasts, I wanted to do this blog, but start the journey, take it slow, learn, show vulnerability, show honesty, show show authenticity, because that's what people want to see at the end of the day. They want to see that realness. They don't want to see you as this positive go-lucky genius who knows everything and who's just trying to be perfect, because that's not real. That's not relatable. You need to be relatable. So let's give an example. Maybe you're a writer, a content writer, a blogger, and you love writing about gaming. You're really interested in the gaming community, and you feel like your passion in writing and your skills in writing can really help the gaming community. So you write about it. You have a blog, you have a content writing, you feature gamers in your writings and interview them. You do you stream on Twitch, vocalizing your writing, or you find ways that are going to vocalize your writing so people see you up front and they see you like emotionally. What's going to happen? People are going to see you as the gaming expert. They're going to see you as a top writer in gaming, or a top writer in anything that you do. So if maybe you do music, you love writing about music, like all this stuff that has to do with music, like how it helps people, how it provides for people. People are going to see you as the top writer in music, and they're going to look to you for it. And the number one thing people are scared of is niching down. But niching down is actually a great thing, because it shows who you specifically appeal to. It shows that you're courageous and people stand behind something. And it shows that you have haters, and haters are a good thing, because it shows who you should truly be writing for and who you shouldn't be writing for. Because let's get this honestly straight. You can't appeal to everyone, because if you try to appeal to everyone, you're appealing to no one. So you need to find that niche, find that thing that you just love to do. You could write about it forever. Like we said in that gaming analogy, people might hate it. They might hate gaming, but eventually, like, people are going to talk about it. Like, they're going to say, oh, I hate gaming. There's this writer that I've been reading. I just don't like his or her stuff. But people, they still read your stuff, and the people that they're saying it to, they're gonna see, let's see for themselves. I kind of like gaming. Let me read their stuff. Let me see for myself if I like it. That's debate. When you're a writer, you need to develop debate. A little bit of debate is always amazing. Just a tiny bit, takes you a long way. So you'll get those people who say, oh, I love their content, I love their writing content, it is spot on. Or you'll be like, oh, I don't really like their content writing that much, I'm not really into it. The key is having a little bit of controversy for sure. Sorry if I'm like combining like steps and stuff. I'm still learning this, okay? I'm gonna be honest and upfront right now. I'm still learning this content and like writings thing, okay? I'm still learning about the blogging, and I just figured out like the stuff I'm making appeals to content writers and online writers, because writers is just way too broad. But the next step is to I can't talk today. The next step is find the perfect audience reader. Okay, so once you figured out like, okay, I'm a gaming writer, I write for gamers, all my niche is niched on gaming, I have a voice that gamers want to read about, and I can impact their life and help them be a better gamer, or I can help them like create content for gaming or something that helps them with gaming. And once you figure that out, you need to get even deeper, like know the perfect audience reader. Like, for example, like what is their age, what is their gender, what do they eat, when do they specifically read about gaming, like do they prefer like reading about gaming on a blog, do they prefer listening to it on a podcast, do they prefer watching a YouTube video about it, or do they prefer watching a stream? And these kind of questions are going to really show like how can I really be more strategic, because you can't answer these questions on your own. The really only way to know it is to just write over and over and over on these platforms, on Polygon especially. Polygon is really big for gaming writers, and selling and really getting your ideas out there, and just figure, like, look at the analytics, look at like the people who are requesting your stuff, and just study your audience and study the people. Because personally for me, like for right now, like my audience is primarily female. So because there's actually a study that has been shown that females are more into like writing and reading, they're more skilled in it. Like testing scores have showed that women are just natural born writers, they're just more natural writers. So that could be something unique. Like, how can I make my writing content geared towards more female, slightly kind of be a little more biased to females? Like how can I, maybe they work a 9 to 5, maybe they have kids, maybe they are on a certain diet, and like they something, just really be strategic, because that strategic side is always gonna show like you're almost like a robot. Like they're like, how are they so good? Like how do they know this stuff? They're just gonna be baffled by how like spot on your content writing, your blogging, your writing, your online writing, whatever it is. Now after you found your value, your voice, and your niche, all these three things kind of come together, like all of your writing is just kind of gonna fall into place, almost kind of like really easy, like really smooth, like ice water. Like you're gonna know like what am I writing, when am I writing it, and why is it relevant, and SEO and stuff like that. You're gonna really start getting into that more, and you're just gonna like get more into the strategic side of writing, because like, you know, I did make that video about how to find your why. That's more of like how to get into the mindset of writing, but finding your niche is like how to get more strategic, how to just basically be that genius robot that's like, whoa, like your audience is like they're surprised how spot on your writing is, because you've been testing stuff, you've been strategic, and you've just been writing about it over and over and just testing your audience and seeing what people want and what people don't want. And with that writing being more relevant, you're gonna need to know your audience. So for example, back to that gaming writer analogy, who is gonna want to read about gaming over and over and over again? And you can even niche it even further. Are you writing about one specific game, or are you writing about more of like a debate, like why is gaming important, why should people be doing gaming, which can be educational, you know, inspire people. Like I've had a story where like gaming has affected my life. Or you could make it like expressive, like share your beliefs about gaming. You know, you can get really deep on this, just write about gaming and just throw those different aspects of values and stuff. And you know, your audience is gonna probably, if they love your writing enough and they really see you spot on, they're gonna want more of you. So of course you're gonna have to, you know, do Discord, you're gonna have to do social media and have additional platforms where you write about gaming. So you can have an Instagram, you can have a Twitter, you can even have a podcast, and you can just do content that appeals to gaming human experience. And just all of your writing content is for gamers and just appeals to gamers. But the future alert here, my voice is raspy, but I forgot this last step. So when having a niche, sometimes having a niche is actually the number one thing to have, because you can bring something to that niche that's different. For example, there could be 4 writers who are all writing about gaming, for example. They all write about the same thing, but what differentiates each of them is who they are, their story, their personality. So once you start to grow and you start to develop that niche, that's when you can get more personal with it, add your story, add who you are. Because look, there's so many ASMR artists out there. It's like almost like six of them, but each of them have their own story. Personally, the one I resonate the most with is ASMR the Jew, because ASMR the Jew is storytelling. She does stories about her life, and that inspires me, and that helps me to get through life. And you know, of course she's a POC, and I resonate with that. I love my POCs. So just have those things that's going to differentiate you from each and every one of that niche, so that people resonate with you more or not, so that you develop that rallying cry of people who love you. But the last final deal is look for gaps in the writing space that's missing through your niche. So for example, what is something in the writing space that's just like no one is talking about this at all? Like no one's talking about it. Like for example, maybe writing is missing poetry. Maybe you feel like poetry is more than just, you know, than what people talk about. Like you could start a blog, you can feature poets, you can talk about everything poetry and revive what poetry is meant to be. Or you could talk about speaking, like why is speaking important as a writer, and you can just be writing about that. And once you define that gap, you're going to develop authority, and authority helps you to show that I'm a genius at this one thing and no one's talking about it, and people are going to come to you for that, because they're going to be like, I am maybe a writer or a creator and I need help, and they're gonna look to you because they found that authority, and they're gonna be like, wow, like this person opened my eyes on what writing truly is, and I can possibly just do my own thing. And you know, finding that gap is always gonna help you blow up a lot faster, because no one's talking about it. You're kind of like the oddball out in a good way. But yes, I'm just creating content as I go, and just hopefully like this content and this journey is hopefully going to help someone, and hopefully inspire someone, and just help people to be better content writers, better bloggers, and just better writers in the online space. And it's just amazing. Just people that are just so passionate about this, that inspires me. And maybe if I inspire someone, not only am I maybe inspiring someone, but online writers are so passionate. Writers in general are so passionate, and that just inspires me to just keep going, because people are just so determined to just stay writing. But yes, if you want to join a space and just get to know me more and get to know my growing community more, join our Discord where we get to know people. But don't like come into my Discord thinking that I got this figured out, because my Discord, I'm still learning the space. I'm still learning everything that's going on. Like, I don't know everything about Discord. I don't know about bots. I don't know about all of that. So you can kind of take me on a ride on what I need to know. But yes, the next video might possibly be another story time. But yes, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for stopping by. And don't forget to find your place in the writing space, where I teach you to do that. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.